Okay. Today we're watching a video called How a CIA Base Works from Friends. One of my favorite YouTube channels. Let's fucking go.
Jane Smith is sitting on a Lufthansa machine bound to Frankfurt, Germany. She empties her second glass of red wine and fastens her seatbelt because the plane is about to land. When Jane exits the aircraft, she goes straight to customs. She shows the officer her American passport. It's black. "Why are you here?" the officer asks. "Supporting technical consultations at the consulate," Jane responds. The officer stamps her passport and she passes through. Jane grabs some euros from an ATM, takes a cab to a nearby hotel, and checks in. You see, an ATM,
Wait, how much?
her passport, and she passes through.
How much money did you grab?
Jane passes through.
How big is this? This looks like about 10 stacks maybe, so 10 times 50, 500 bucks, okay, 500
Jane grabs
bucks.
some euros from an ATM, takes a cab to a nearby hotel, and checks in. You see, Jane lied a little just now, during the customs check. She is not working for a consulate, and despite her passport, she is no diplomat. Jane is a CIA agent, a hacker. She is visiting a covert base of her agency, secretly set up within the American consulate in Frankfurt. But this base, in the heart of Europe, is just one of a giant network spanning all across the globe. What are their functions? And how do these bases operate on foreign territory?
CIA's global hacking program.
Spy stations, Methoden der CIA.
Look at the Americans doing.
Fucking CIA. It's already pretty crazy the fact that it's legally allowed to give them a diplomatic pass, you know?
Jane enters the hotel room and drops off her bags. She was prepared for this trip. She's been given instructions on how to get around in Frankfurt. Stores are closed on Sunday, gas stations are not a good place for fine dining, stuff like that. We all know this thanks to the extensive leaks called Vault 7 from a few years back.
Oh damn, WikiLeaks giving us some good fucking content.
Generally, this video largely relies on leaked information and statements of retired agents. It was a 9-hour flight from Washington, D.C. to Frankfurt. Jane is pretty exhausted and takes a shower. She is very careful not to leave anything that could identify her unattended. She takes her phone and laptop with her to the bathroom. Freshly dressed, Jane takes the U5 subway towards Pollingesheim. She gets off at Gießener Straße, just a few hundred meters north from the consulate. Frankfurt hosts the largest U.S. consulate in the
world.
world.
Never been to Frankfurt. Actually, that's wrong. I've been to the train station, but not in the actual city.
Officially, it is serving American residents in the region, but in truth, it is doing much more than that. At the main gate, Jane shows her black passport and is handed a yellow visitor's badge. She follows the signs to the employee entrance alongside the consulate building on the left. Jane holds up her yellow badge at the door and is buzzed into the building by a guard. Inside the building, Jane walks through a number of corridors and through a large heavy door to post 1. A U.S. Marine is waiting behind a glass window. Jane gives her the yellow badge and she gets a blue one instead. Jane can finally enter her new office and get to work. She calls her
What the fuck is this? This looks amazing.
person of contact and gets to know the other agents at the station. In 2013, news broke that the US spied on then German Chancellor Angela Merkel's private phone for over 10 years.
The NSA may have been spying on Chancellor Angela Merkel.
A spokesman for the German leader described the idea as
Totally unacceptable.
The operation was run by the so-called
That's so mean. But it's like, the thing is, like the scandal isn't that it happened, because it happens all the time, right? The scandal is that it got discovered, basically, right? Let's be real, guys.
Special Collection Service, a spy unit of the NSA and CIA. Officially, it does not exist. Unofficially, it is running spy operations from almost 100 US embassies all across the world, including Frankfurt. But Jane works for another unit here. She works for the European branch of the Center for Cyber Intelligence, the CIA's hacking division. Jane and others are developing cyber weapons. There are over 1,000 hacking systems and several hundred million lines of code in the CIA's arsenal. Some of these hacking tools are extremely powerful. The CIA could turn devices from Apple, Google, Samsung, and many others into secret microphones. There are tools that bypass encryption from messengers like WhatsApp, Signal, or Telegram, allowing the agency to collect texts and voice messages. But there are also attack systems like fine dining, which only work from up close. This is where Frankfurt's strategic location comes into play. The Schengen Agreement allows Jane to travel from Frankfurt to almost any European country without border control. If Jane wanted to penetrate high-security targets that are not connected to the internet, she could simply take a train, stick a USB drive loaded with malware into a target PC, and be back in Frankfurt by supper. Jane is a very talented hacker. If one day she...
It's actually so interesting, like the part with the data security, with the parts where they can hack all the phones from each phone company's security and stuff like that. The possibility as to why it's possible, we have to always consider is because simply governments can pay money to the big companies like Apple, Samsung, whatnot, Google, etc., work together with them to need to know what they need to know, so they can ensure that they have these powers. This is also why it can be pretty one-sided in some regards. Like basically when you have an encryption tool, you yourself know how to decrypt it. And you got a secret on how to decrypt it, right? Like encryption, decryption, all kind of makes sense, so. And if you give that decryption tool to someone else, then of course they are able to remove decrypted messages that you're sending through peer-to-peer messages on WhatsApp, Telegram, and whatnot. So all these things are not really too safe.
She decided to leave the CIA, she could have a very promising career as a cybersecurity expert. All she'd have to do is build a portfolio and launch her own website. Unfortunately, Jane is not very creative when it comes to designing. Luckily, she doesn't have to be. There is a fast, easy, and intuitive way to build a website with our sponsor, Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one management platform that lets you build a great-looking website in minutes. Just answer a few quick questions, select a theme you like, and customize it to your needs. Simply drag and drop blocks to add images or text. If you, like Jane, are out of creative ideas, AI can help you. With Odoo's intuitive website builder, you can easily change every aspect of your site, highlight text, change the shape of your pictures, or add animations to make your website really stand out. Check out Odoo by clicking on fern.deals/Odoo to build your very own website. Your first app is free for life, with a custom domain name free for 1 year.
That's crazy.
Jane is working at the base for a time now when she gets a phone call. Her superiors need her expertise at another location. She says goodbye to her colleagues, checks out of her hotel room, and buys a single malt whiskey with her remaining euros in the
What a bad choice. You could have drank new cola or something like anything else.
duty-free shop at the airport. Jane's next destination is Australia. Jane gets off the plane and walks to customs, and things do not go smoothly. One of the officers seems suspicious about her and selects Jane for secondary screening. But she is prepared. Agents like Jane are usually trained here, Camp Peary, or how most people in the CIA call it, the farm, a roughly 10,000-acre piece of land near Williamsburg, Virginia. It was established during World War II as a military training center. Later, it was transformed into a camp for Italian and German war prisoners. In 1951, the CIA took over and turned it into a secret spy school. Of course, not officially.
Interesting.
In fact, the CIA has built an entire fake city.
What the hell? This is where your tax money goes, guys. Americans, rise up. Look at that. And then they can't afford to build better public schools, guys.
There are multiple houses and dormitories for students and staff. For training,
The farm is such a crazy name. It sounds like a video game map, right? Like, that's the only thing.
The site has several shooting ranges, boathouses at the river, driving courses, and an airfield. Students learn everything they need to know about life as a secret agent in the field, from basic weapons trainings all the way to the handling of explosives, how to evade pursuers, and field surveillance. Students practice how to infiltrate a border that is tightly guarded by watchtowers and police dogs. Enemy capture is simulated by kidnapping students from their dorm and interrogating them. There is even a mock prison where students learn how to deal with
Oh my
solitary
God.
confinement. If training needs to be even more
Oh my
hardcore,
God. Why would you want to do that? That seems awful.
students are brought to Harvey Point, just a few hours south of the farm. This is the
Like, imagine you just want to chill and sleep after you had a hard day of work, and then you get dragged out of your fucking bed to be interrogated just so you practice interrogating. It's not even real interrogation. Just a practice run. Bro, if I was being woken up in the middle of my sleep and interrogated, I would just straight up tell them everything they want to know. Like, fuck that, let me back to sleep.
place where, among other things, the operation to kill Osama bin Laden was planned and trained.
They just rebuilt his house? Oh my God, you can't tell me this. They rebuilt his house so they can practice it. That's crazy, guys. But they forgot the building that was here. They only did the bottom part of the compound.
Jane stands in front of a customs officer at the Australian airport. She remembers how to survive secondary screening. According to a CIA training manual, the two most common questions in this situation are why are you here and where are you staying? Jane learned how to maintain her cover, no matter what. When asked, Jane gives a quick and concise answer, no pause and no delaying sounds between questions and response, just as the manual says. She knows that any unnecessary information or overly specific answers might lengthen the interview, so she keeps it short and simple. She tries to stay calm, no swallowing, no lip biting, nothing that can make her seem nervous. And it works.
Okay, real talk. Why? Let's be fucking real here. If I was to fly to Australia and I would be chosen for secondary screenings, I would be so fucking nervous. I would be so fucking paranoid, even though I didn't do anything. So why is it like suspicious if you are nervous? Isn't it much more suspicious to not be nervous, to be used to such a situation? This is so stupid.
After a few minutes, the officer hands Jane her passport and she's free to enter the country.
She did it, guys. Oh my God, guys. The fuck?
Jane is
It's like a ticket with this shake and be like, lock me up because I can't remember my hotel's name. For real, same. It's like, in a hotel, but what kind of hotel? A nice one, the one that was the cheapest. Oh my God, do I look like I had a choice?
sitting with her colleagues in a casino in Alice Springs, a small town right in the heart of the Australian outback. There are a lot of Americans all around her, which is not unusual. Most of them work at Pine Gap, a nearby military base run by the Australian and US government. Jane and others are playing a weird American dice game called Craps when a group of Australian YouTubers join them.
Australian YouTubers? Oh my God, that sounds hilarious.
Together they drink, they laugh, and maybe talk a bit too much about their work.
What's it like living here?
This guy doesn't get listener.
The Americans in this casino are no ordinary soldiers, and Pine Gap is not your usual military base. Pine Gap is a top-secret spy facility.
What are you doing there? Top secret stuff.
Homies got trained to not leak information, that they just say top secret stuff to like some random YouTubers when they know there's a camera on them. I guess the YouTubers at least had like a hidden camera, but they were holding it super obvious. Are they stupid? Imagine you get trained for 5 years, woken up in your sleep, interrogated at night and whatnot, and then you just say top secret stuff. Huh? To some random ass YouTubers, alcohol for real. Like, why do they need such training? The CIA should have just told them, don't drink alcohol, and then it would all be fine already.
Roughly 1,000 people work at the so-called Joint Defense Facility, which is a quite misleading name, in fact. In its early years, Australians only worked as cooks, painters, or janitors. While today almost half the staff is Australian and the other half American, in reality the CIA and the NSA call the shots here. While Pine Gap was originally used as a defensive site to keep track of
That reminds me of one of the Austrian politics who agreed to sell Austria to Russia. That was a hidden camera though. Oh yeah, I remember that. That's so stupid.
Soviet nuclear missiles during the Cold War, US intelligence quickly realized how useful this base could truly be. Today, it is the US's most important intelligence collection station in the world. There are 38 radar dishes all across the base. Many of them are enclosed in random, huge golf ball-like structures. They are built to hide and protect the antennas inside them. Most of these antennas communicate with US spy satellites, like Orion 3, 5, 7, and 9.
Wait, but how does these hide anything? If you know they're used to hide antennas, then you know there's an antenna inside. It doesn't really hide anything. I'm so confused about this. Like, is it just me or is the CIA kinda stupid?
Golf ball-like structures. They are built to hide and protect the antennas inside them.
It's the same as Americans having to drink alcohol covered by a brown bag. Yeah,
Most of these antennas
true. This
communicate
is the
with
same
US spy
thing.
satellites, like Orion 3, 5, 7, and 9. These spy satellites are geosynchronous. They move in orbit with exactly the same speed as the Earth's rotation. This way the CIA can intercept almost all wireless communication from Europe, Africa, and Asia, 24/7. The
That's
immensely
scary,
powerful
oh
NSA
my
spy
God.
programs, Echelon and X-Keyscore, that Edward Snowden made public in 2013, are also operated from Pine Gap. These programs are used to systematically collect everything, from online chats to phone calls and mails. At the heart of the base sits the operations building.
Wow. That's so scary. Crazy. But I guess I don't have anything to hide.
On a total of around 20,000 square meters, roughly the size of a small IKEA, the CIA, NSA, and other agencies analyze all incoming intelligence data. Pine Gap played a vital role in America's war on terror. It provided real-time data for soldiers on the battlefield in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it was used to locate targets for US drone strikes, during which
Oh boy. Small IKEA New American size unit dropped. Oh my God. Drone strikes in Afghanistan. 17 years we killed the US killed. But 4K strikes killed about 3,500 to 4.8K people. Out of those, 150 to 300 people were civilians and 36 to 37 were children. Oh boy. Guys, don't kill civilians and children. That's not cool. It's actually so
hundreds
sad.
of civilians were killed. A very recent report indicates that Pine Gap intelligence may have assisted Israeli forces to attack targets in Gaza.
This again? God damn it, for real?
Report indicates that Pine Gap intelligence may have assisted Israeli forces to attack.
The Pine Gap facility is monitoring the Gaza Strip and surrounding areas with all its resources and gathering intelligence assessed to be useful to Israel. Pine gives the satellites overhead. Every one of those assets would be on those locations looking for anything that could help them. Yeah, okay, so America straight up helping. Wait, so taxpayers are basically now financing a genocide? American taxpayers financing genocide? That's awesome.
Targets in Gaza. For that reason, a group of protesters tried to block the entrance to Pine Gap at the end of last year.
Look at those brave people. That's so cool, actually. The sad part is that it's only like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Pine Gap,
10
a group
people?
of protesters may have assisted Israeli forces to attack targets in Gaza. For that reason,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Now, about 20 people, I would say. About 20 people blocking military, like a military compound. Military compound, just because they know what they're doing is wrong. It's such a cool thing to do, I'm not gonna lie. Also, wait, I just realized, firefighters are on their side. No? Yeah, that makes sense. Firefighters also blocking the street with them. If I see this correctly, that's so cool.
a group of protesters tried to block the entrance to Pine Gap at the end of last year. Pine Gap has been criticized by many different groups before. Some people have even managed to enter the facility. More recently, these Australian YouTubers, for
Hey Evie, welcome!
Be sure to check out their video. It inspired us to make this video in the first place.
So be more hyped.
No, through road, official entry only. Whoa, this is such a scary move to do, damn.
It sounded like bombs going off.
No.
Jane has seen places few people in the world have ever been to. Covert hacking bases in the heart of Europe, training facilities in the US, and spy stations in Australia. She knows many of the CIA's secrets, like the fact that in 2000, an American soldier from Pine Gap reportedly started a secret swingers club in Alice Spring, which held wild sex parties. But there are places that not
Why did we exactly feel the need to mention that right now?
even Jane will ever have access to. On September 6, 2006, President George Bush admitted what many people had already suspected.
So I'm announcing today that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Abu Zubaydah, Ramzi bin al-Shibh, and 11 other terrorists in CIA custody have been transferred to the United States Naval Base at Guantanamo Bay.
In this speech, Bush acknowledged that the CIA was running a network of secret prisons all across the
I've been watching a video called How a CIA Base Works, that's just discovering some facts on CIA bases and generally infos regarding the CIA.
world, so-called black sites. The most well-known CIA prison is Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. The prison was built for international terrorist suspects. Just 4 months after the attacks on 9/11, the first 20 people arrived. But Guantanamo is no regular prison. In most cases, there are no official charges, no trials, and no formal convictions. A total of 800 people were brought here. Some have been exposed to enhanced interrogation techniques, most commonly known as torture.
Oh my god, calling torture enhanced interrogation tactics is also something else. Damn, that's crazy.
Often, the CIA did not have clear evidence on their inmates. The exact number and locations of black sites are still unknown. Some were run by foreign secret services. At least 10 of these prisons were built and operated by the CIA. Over 50 governments participated in some way.
50 governments, okay, yeah, whatever.
If the CIA suspected someone of being a terrorist, they sometimes became part of the agency's extraordinary rendition program, or simply kidnapping. The suspect was
What did they call it? Extraordinary rendition. They just kidnap people, interrogate them, torture them, and they call it extraordinary rendition. Oh my god, just just call it breaking human rights. How about that?
This is extraordinary rendition program, or simply kidnapping. The suspect was illegally shackled, blindfolded, and transported via plane to one of the CIA's black sites. Some of these prisons were allegedly planned from the CIA base in Frankfurt, while the farm was allegedly involved in rendition flights. One of the most important prisons of the CIA was here, on a Polish military base near the small village of Stare Kikute. Inside this two-story villa, the CIA built one of its very first prisons after 9/11, codenamed Quartz. The CIA tortured multiple suspects here. As compensation for using the place, the CIA paid at least $15 million and outfitted the base with $300,000 worth of security cameras. After many years of
Okay. There's your taxpayer money. Again. Polish President Mitch Poland agreed to host secret CIA black site. Yep. That's fucking crazy. Like, especially Poland being the country that held most of the Nazi death camps in them should be reminded of maybe not having places to torture people in their country.
denial, in 2014, the Polish government finally admitted that it hosted the secret CIA prison. Since then, the European Court of Human Rights has found multiple European countries responsible for letting the CIA violate several human rights in prisons on their territory. In 2009, President Obama ordered for all black sites to be closed. But to this day, Guantanamo Bay still holds roughly 30 inmates.
Wow. Well, at least Obama tried to do something decent, though. That's fucking crazy. Very good video, Fern. Once again, appreciate you for making great content. 07